in a list of names and chose to call ourselves Somaliland. The word, the name, Horn of Africa was given to have done that. Some 7, 8 years ago, a portion of the Somali inhabited Horn of Africa, which is part of the former Somalia Italiana, has done that. Found a name, liked it, and called themselves that name. The name of Somaliland is an old one we like very much, and the name that we hope to hold on for as long as it takes. It was this name that the British gave us, confirmed to us when, let me just go back a little bit here in my little thing. There we are. You have the Flemish version, I have my version. This name was given to us by the British, but then our existence did not start with the British. It goes back to several thousand years. It goes back to the times of the pharaohs. And among the precious gifts that existed at that time and that were given to kings and royalty was a product of Somaliland. Frankincense and myrrh, foh, luban, maidi, call it whatever, grows in the Gulis range of mountains of Somaliland. And we believe it was also a product that was used for the mummification of mummies during the time of the pharaohs. Somaliland was also a valuable trading partner with the people who lived alongside the Red Sea. We have cave paintings today in Somaliland, the Lasgale, Nagaxkurre, at least these two I have visited personally, and I'm told there are others that depict ancient cave drawings that date back to over 5 or 6 or 11,000 years ago. This proves that there was a civilization living in that part of the world that had time to develop a culture and time to do some cave paintings. The University of Montpellier in France and the universities of Somaliland are today studying the history of the cave paintings. And at one time, they even tried to find out what these colors were made of. These bright, brilliant colors that are thousands of years old. And what the two universities, Somaliland and Montpellier, put together, and they thought would be the same as those pictures, as those colors, took 2 years to fade away. So we still do not know the mystery of the colors in those paintings that have lasted for thousands of years. We have, of course, in Somaliland, being at the mouth of the Red Sea, being a nation of traders. We traded with the East, we traded with the Arabian Peninsula, and we also traded with our brothers in Africa. Even though I don't like to mention it, it was also an important slave trade route. But that's the reality, that's the fact. We have good things, but we also have bad things, and we must record, and so that we do not make the same mistakes again, and we learn from these historical facts. Ancient Somalis, Somalilanders, were also invaded or visited by historians and explorers. To this day, we have who made the territory of Somaliland according to treaties that were made with the others who also wished to have part of the Horn of Africa. There was the Anglo-French Treaty, the Anglo-Italian Treaty, and the Anglo-Ethiopian Treaty that delineated, that marked the border that we have today. If I were given the choice to make the border of Somaliland today, I would take it to beyond those borders. My family, my clans, my camels, my people live a good way inside Ethiopia. But then international treaties forbid me from doing that and make me to respect the international borders of Somaliland. I can go across the border, they can come across the border to me, but the administrative border is there. So when there are peoples who think that borders are elastic and they can be widened and restricted and you can claim things and say this clan lives there and the other clan lives there, are talking through their hat. Because nations spill across borders. And if I take this great country today that is the seat of the European Union, I wonder how many people from Belgium have traveled across this administrative border of Belgium, and how many people from neighboring countries, let's say Holland or France, have traveled into Belgium. Borders are, thank you, borders are there to mark administrative territories. They're not emotional, they're not tribal. And if the border of Somaliland is made to move across one way or the other, it would destroy the entire map of Africa and the entire map of nations. Somaliland is what it was in 1883. Somaliland is what it was at the time of independence on the 26th of June 1960, and Somaliland is that same Somaliland today in 2012. We have, one of the things that I would like to do, and I hope you will see this on the map, is the stamp. A stamp, a British stamp, that calls that country on that map British Somaliland Protectorate. I love that map. Not because I love stamps and I'm a very ardent stamp collector, but it proves that that British monarch was proud to show the British territory of Somaliland. Monarchies do not claim territories they do not control. Britain would have shown a different map if that were not the map of Somaliland. Italy also has a treaty with Britain and has La Somalia Italiana. La Somalia Italiana was formed according to treaties that were agreed with the colonizing powers at that time. It cannot grow and it cannot shrink. The territory of La Somalia Italiana is what it was at the time of their independence, is what it was at the time of the independence of Somaliland. And that is the territory that is carved on stone, that you cannot move and that is not conducive to change. British Somaliland was proudly the firstborn and independent Somali nation. we hold that place in history. We are the most senior of the partners in the Horn of Africa who speak Somali and who are of Somali origin. We hold seniority over 50 African countries, not only those in the Horn of Africa, but Somaliland was the third independent nation among those 53 African nations today who have been given the authority to decide over the fate of Somaliland. Where was Kenya when I was independent in 1960? Where was Tanzania, or Tanganyika at the time? Where was Uganda? Where were the other 50 countries, the other nations who sit in the African Union today and who decide, no, Somalia is independent, is indivisible. You were not even there when I was Somaliland. I was born before you. Somaliland is a country that was very far-looking, very forward-looking. In the 50s, I am not even sure that countries in Europe were thinking about the European Union. When Somalilanders and other Somalis in the Horn of Africa were thinking about the greater Somalia. So union is not something that is new to Somalis. It is not new to Somaliland. We conceived it, and we lived it, and we made it happen. And we waited for the next Somali nation to become independent for us to achieve that union that we had campaigned for. Waited for the independence of our next door neighbor, Somalia, so that we could put into practice what we had been preaching. So union was not imposed upon us. Somaliland did not get conquered. Somaliland was not bought into union with Somalia. Somaliland united with Somalia, or Somalia united with Somaliland, because we were already there when they also became independent. Union is a good thing. We have nothing against union. We admire unions that work. We respect and admire the union that you have in Europe, that you have in the United States, that you have in other countries. But the kind of union that we had with our neighbors in Somalia, regretfully, was one that did not work. It did not work, not because Somalilanders did not want it to work, but because our neighbors, we had a partner who found it difficult to respect the union, to respect equal partnership, to respect the rights of the people of the Somali nations, both in Somalia and in Somaliland. And it was because of that injustice that some of our military officers in 1961, on the 10th of December 1961, I know that date because I was hit on that date during the attempted coup, withdrew from that union and said, wait a minute. Let's go back and let's look into the act of union. And let's make that union worthwhile, beneficial, safe for both parties. And regretfully, unfortunately, that attempted coup did not work. It only resulted in more punitive actions to be taken against the people of Somaliland. We've had moments of relative détente. Yes, when in 1967, late Abdurrashid Ali Sharmarke was elected president and he appointed Mohammed Haji Ibrahim Igal as prime minister. Yes, there was relative détente, not only among Somalis, not only among the people of Somalia and Somaliland, but also détente among the people of the Horn of Africa. That was when that regime, that administration, was the one that had made the rapprochement with Kenya and ended the years of conflict between Somalia and Kenya. It was that time that was a rapprochement, and a détente was also reached with Ethiopia. I lived it. I was there. That That's how the people of Somaliland react. We try to reach solutions through dialogue, through negotiations, through discussions, through compromise. And it was that passive, that peace-loving attitude of the people of Somaliland that has today allowed us, the people of the new Somaliland, to be forgiving, to look forward, to offer shelter and protection to the people of neighboring Somalia. They're weak, come to us. They're sick, come to us. Their youth come to us for education. So people of Somaliland, thank goodness, are forgiving people and who like to use their energy to build, not to destroy. And if I go to that map, to the picture of what Somaliland was like in 1960, I beg your pardon, in 1961, our cities were leveled to the ground. 250,000 of our people died. Children, 2- and 3-year-old children, and their mothers were put into mass graves. That picture is the picture of Hargeisa, the city. That is a picture of a hospital. Now, who bombs a hospital? Who bombs a school? Who bombs a home? Who bombs mosques? Who bombs civilian residential areas? Who puts the bodies of children and innocent victims into mass graves? Those bones are the bones of the people of Somaliland. The people who conceived union with Somalia, the people who conceived and campaigned for the independence of Somalia and other Somalis. These are the bones of the children of our nation. And I don't think anybody earns the title of being a hero if they can put bodies of little children into mass graves. Defenseless little children of 2 years old and 3 years old have been put in graves. To me, that is cowardice. That is cowardice. But in spite of that, the people of Somaliland refuse to kill and take vengeance over the 10,000 troops that were within Somaliland at the time of our separation from Somalia. And some may have thought they've killed 250,000 of our people. Let us kill those 10,000 and at least take revenge on them. And I'm so proud to be a Somalilander because my people said, no, they could do that, but we will not become animals who can kill 10,000 prisoners. Instead, we shared water with them, we shared food with them, we provided a safe corridor for them, and we allowed them to go home. That is what Somaliland is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, I could sing the praises of my country forever, for a long time. And what I'm trying to do is to make the international world understand that we are not gloating nor happy about what's happening in neighboring Somalia. Their pain hurts us. That child who is dying in Mogadishu or Bosaso or Kismayo, at the end of the day, is a Somali child. That woman who is denied health care and that youth who is denied education in former Italian Somalia, at the end of the day, is a Somali youth. When I and others have been allowed to live in your countries when we are of a different color, why, how can we deny a young Somali student to study in our universities if they come in and satisfy the entrance examination with their pen and their knowledge, and if they respect the rules and the regulations of that learning institution? Why? We welcome them, we have them, a quarter of the patients in my hospital are people who have run and escaped from Somalia. They're people, they're sick, they are brothers. The message that I would like to leave with everybody today, and I hope that my presentation will be distributed to you in its entirety, is that Somaliland means well. Somaliland is a country that needs to be admired and needs to be copied. Somaliland is achieving what other nations in Africa have failed to achieve. It has exercised tolerance, it has exercised determination, it has proven that it is forgiving. It is also resilient because it manages to live with what it has. We make do with what we have. We don't live according to what we get from you, the international you. The real message I want to leave is that today in Somaliland, we have 500,000 young people who were born in refugee camps and who in 1991 were told, your country is now free, you have reclaimed the sovereignty of your country, you can now grow in a country that is yours and is being run according to what is of value for your people. Recognition will come soon. We heard that in 93 after the Borama conference. We heard it in 1997 during the presidential elections. We heard that from the international community in 2001 when we had our referendum. We heard it again when we had our local government elections and presidential elections and I don't know how many elections and so on and so on. Today, 500,000 young people are at a risk of losing credibility when it comes to the international community. They are in a place where you have a powerful industry called terrorism, piracy, and fundamentalism that has a budget of over $5 billion a year. That massive destructive industry of piracy and terrorism is beckoning to our children and showing them a short road to go to heaven by blowing themselves up and blowing others. And ladies and gentlemen in the international community, if we do not harness the energy of our young people today in a positive, constructive way, some of them could be tempted to use that energy, that pent-up energy that they have in a destructive way. And it will be a loss, not only to Somalilanders and to the parents and of these children, but it will be a loss to the entire world. It will be a loss to democracy, it will be a loss to freedom, and it will be a loss to human rights. 500,000 young people in Somaliland deserve a right to their rightful identity, right to employment, right to living in a peaceful, democratic, and stable Somaliland. Somaliland has made its choice. First, to unite with Somalia, and then its choice to separate from Somalia. Its people have entered into a referendum, and I'm sure it will be discussed by my colleagues. The people of Somaliland have no intention of reuniting with that failed state that is Somalia. And who in their right minds would want to unite with Al-Shabaab? Is that what you would like us to do? No. Who in their right minds would want to unite with pirates, with terrorists, with warlords? It cannot happen. It will not happen. It must not happen. because that will be a loss to the international community. Somaliland can be a positive partner for freedom-loving people and democratic people of this world. We have shown you what we can do with very little. Which other country in the world has been able to rebuild itself with its own resources, and in less than a quarter of a century has built that Somaliland today, where you have just one terrorist, an old woman like me, because I can terrorize any one of you because I have the freedom to do so. I can pick up a microphone. That's what Somaliland is all about. That's what we are bringing to the world. Let us join and become friends with people who want justice and democracy. Don't push us towards those who want to destroy the free world. Don't push us towards terrorists. Don't push us towards Al-Qaeda and Al-Shabaab and all the other names. Somaliland is here to stay. And the sooner the international community comes to terms with that, the better. We can help you. You've tried. The world has tried 17 times, 18 times. You've had TFGs, FSGs, I don't know, all the Gs in this world to try and bring peace to Somalia, and you have failed. You took the Marines there. It didn't work. Every nation, 28 nations, landed on the shores of Mogadishu to try and bring peace to Somalia. Recognize your failures, because it hasn't worked. Our system works. You're spending billions of dollars of good taxpayers' money on Somalia. But do you realize that it's not going to work? Not because you have not tried, but because the people of Somalia do not want it to work. You cannot match the industry of terrorism that they have. You are being beaten by terrorists. Give Somaliland a chance. Invite Somaliland as a partner. Give the dignity and the recognition that the people of Somaliland deserve. And you will see what Somalilanders can do. Somalilanders stick to their word. They have a track record of 21 years, and they will be a very strong partner and ally in bringing peace and stability to that turbulent horn of Africa. And I thank you all very much. I know the chairman is looking at me. Thank you all very much. Don't make me cry.
Thank you, Madam Adna, for your inspiring speech. I give now our next speaker the word. This is Mr. Bruno Turbens. He's a federal member of the Parliament for the Socialists and a former Vice Minister in the federal government. Before Mr. Turbens went into politics, he was chairman of Amnesty International Belgium. Therefore, he has a lot of experience to share on the subject of human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bruno Turbens.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Distinguished Speaker of the House, dear Mrs. Adan Ismaili, it will be demonstrated that it is always very difficult to speak after an eloquent and highly respected speaker. But I can of course try to keep your attention and to say some words. In a region rife with violence and chaos, torn by warlordism and lacking any authority on rule of law, Somaliland looks like a beacon of stability and an oasis of peace and democracy. Democracy, the rule of law, and the respect for human rights are almost non-existent in other parts of Somalia, where war, banditry, corruption, hunger, illiteracy, disease, and unemployment are the norm. Somalia is a failed state, as has been said, that has failed its people. In contrast, the northwest breakaway region of the Republic of Somaliland is haven of peace, stability and progress in the Horn of Africa. Against all odds and with little international recognition or aid, and 3 million people of Somaliland have largely by their own efforts begun to establish a secure, functioning democratic state and a fair degree of economic stability and growth. Somaliland's most important merit is that it has carried through a peace process on its own initiative and without outside help, financed, at least in the beginning, only with its own resources. Unlike peace conferences elsewhere in Africa, peace in Somaliland has homegrown and was brokered entirely with the initiatives and resources of its own people. Once peace was secured, a general and voluntary demobilization of the militia freedom fighters was achieved without international assistance and without foreign troops to make it happen. Once this major hurdle was overcome, the people rose to the daunting challenge of rebuilding Somaliland on a self-help basis. Reconstruction took place without political recognition or international support, and with only the meager resources of the country to rely on. The relative freedom in the process of democratization has generated one interesting result, a modern central power mixed with traditional elements of authority. For 20 years already, the people of Somaliland have been waiting for international recognition of their country. The goal of independence, in coalescence with the needs of the people, has galvanized the pacification of the country and the creation of a well-functioning state with regular elections, an effective police and army force, and a flourishing private economic sector. All of this without much official international assistance and, again, mainly pulled by local, often traditional clan leaders. This is a truly remarkable achievement in the region of Africa that has long been a byword for chaos, repression, and war. Over the last decade and a half, the nation has made a transition from an autocratic, clan-based society, notorious for its poor governance, conflict, and human rights abuses, to a peaceful and progressive multi-party democracy. A referendum in 2001 led to the adoption of a new constitution, it has been said. Since then, Somalilanders have held successful elections for president, the House of Representatives, and local government. While Somalia has not had a free election since the 60s.